As we reported earlier, CIA Director Gina Haspel today briefed a dozen U.S. senators about the October murder of the Saudi Arabian journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The Saudi government claims the murder was a, quote, rogue operation, but the senators who were briefed believe responsibility lies near the very top of the Saudi royal family, with the powerful crown prince Mohammed bin Salman, known as MBS. Here are Republican Senators Lindsey Graham and Bob Corker, who is chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
I have zero question in my mind that the Crown Prince, MBS, ordered the killing, monitored the killing, knew exactly what was happening, planned it in advance. If he was in front of a jury, he would be convicted in 30 minutes, guilty.
There's not a smoking gun, there's a smoking saw. You have to be willfully blind not to come to the conclusion that this was orchestrated and organized by people under the command of MBS, and that he was intricately involved in the demise of Mr. Khashoggi.
Our foreign affairs correspondent Nick Schifrin is here now to walk us through the latest. Some really strong language there, Nick, from these senators. But what does it mean? How significant is it?
Well, I think we should pause for a second and just examine the words. I mean, these are unprecedented. This is unprecedented bipartisan criticism against Saudi Arabia. Remember, these are senators who have defended Saudi Arabia in the past, despite human rights abuses in the past. Senators who have defended Saudi Arabia even after 9/11. 9 Saudis participated in 9/11. They called Saudi Arabia a strategic ally, now calling Saudi Arabia a strategic liability. We don't know what was happened in that briefing because it was classified, but we heard a couple of hints there. One, Senator Graham saying a smoking saw, seemingly a confirmation of something that the Turkish officials have said, which this team that flew from Saudi Arabia to Istanbul to murder Khashoggi brought a bone saw, clearly indicating premeditation.
And that's been that evidence has been confirmed,
not officially. I mean, not officially.
There's a lot of reference to it.
There's only reference to it, and mostly from Turkish officials. But really, they came out very strongly talking about MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, being orchestrating this attack. Remember, that's not what the president says. This really does put the senators against U.S. policy. Mattis, Pompeo, the secretaries came to the Hill last week and said you cannot punish MBS. You cannot punish Saudi Arabia because they're so important to what we're doing, confronting Iran, trying to get Israeli-Palestinian peace. Graham said, look, I need to hear from Gina Haspel. He has heard from her now and came out very strongly against the administration's defense of MBS.
So when it comes to policy, what exactly can the Senate do?
Yeah, that's the big question. So what the senators said today is they want to distinguish between Mohammed bin Salman and Saudi Arabia. They want to somehow punish the prince without affecting the strategic alliance. There's a couple of options on the table right now. One is a bill from Senator Sanders and Lee that would end the war in Yemen that is basically being led by the Saudis. There's some problems with that. Some of it's controversial, but over 60 senators voted to have a vote on that next week, and that will probably happen. But that's just about Yemen. The second option goes further. It's a bill sponsored by Senator Menendez, the ranking member on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, along with Senator Graham. That would end arms sales to Saudi Arabia and require sanctions on anyone connected to Jamal Khashoggi's death. And there's a third option, which Senator Graham raised today, which is some kind of sense of the Senate. MBS is guilty and ordered Khashoggi's murder. Again, more of a guilt MBS and don't change the Saudi relationship. But Senator Bob Corker today said, look, this is really hard. We don't have consensus. Maybe the president should just come out and criticize MBS and call him responsible for the murder. And so there's no guarantee that the Senate can turn all this rhetoric into policy change. It's rare, as you know, for senators to try and forcibly change foreign policy. The administration clearly an indication today that bipartisan senators want to do just that.
Tricky to separate the person who's in charge of a country, or almost in charge of a country, from policy toward the country overall.
That's right. Mohammed bin Salman is really the de facto leader of Saudi Arabia.
Nick Schifrin, thank you.
Thank you.